Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our show this week. Today we have a truly inspiring guest joining us, someone who is at the forefront of empowering and connecting accomplished Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and community leaders worldwide. Join me in welcoming Jerome Hutchinson Jr., the founder and chief servant officer of ICABA. We'll dive into how ICABA is shaping the landscape of professional networks and fostering opportunities for growth and collaboration. Get ready for an insightful conversation that explores leadership, community impact, and the power of networks. Stay tuned.
Black Americans only made up 3.2% of senior leadership roles at large companies.
Corporate South Africa is becoming a very difficult and hostile environment for a lot of Black professionals.
So you also spoke with Black professionals about what they face in the workplace. What'd you learn and what needs to change?
A lot needs to change.
We are all aware of the problem. These headlines are just a few of the troubling reminders. The question is, what are we going to do about it? We are going to be proactive and strategic. We're going to connect and collaborate so we can ignite the changes we want to see.
Hi, I'm Jerome Hutchinson Jr., and I am fired up and ready to ignite change. In 2021, my vision for a catalyst to spark an empowering movement to ignite changes became a reality with the launch of Black Professionals Month. As the founder and chief servant officer for the ICABA World Network, I have spent the past 13 years assisting Black professionals to succeed, lead, and prosper. It has become my life's mission to build a thriving community of Black professionals worldwide.
Get ready for Black Professionals Month. 31 days of live and virtual events, recognitions, celebrations, and speakers to help Black professionals succeed, lead, and prosper. By coming together and leveraging our collective strength, we can collaborate to increase the presence of Black professionals in roles of leadership.
Through Black Professionals Month, ICABA is expanding its capacity to increase wealth creation and leadership roles for Black professionals. I invite you to join me this October in making Black Professionals Month a driving force to amplify Black professional excellence.
If you would like to be a sponsor of BPM, be a speaker, or attend, visit blackprofessionalsmonth.com.
Let's get connected so that we can collaborate and build community to grow wealth and stronger leadership worldwide.
Hello. Today we're having a wonderful sit down with Jerome Hutchinson, founder and chief servant officer of ICABA World Network. So, welcome, Jerome.
Glad to be here.
It's wonderful to have you in studio with us. So tell us about ICABA, how it came about, how long it's been going on, and what exactly does ICABA do?
Okay, well, great questions. Thanks for asking. I love talking about ICABA.
Absolutely.
We've been around for 15 years.
That's
and
great.
People a lot of times ask me, so what does ICABA stand for? So it's spelled ICABA, and that stands for Identifying, Connecting, Activating the Black Accomplished.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we're all about showcasing Black professional excellence, advancing wealth creation, and elevating leadership presence. And so we do that, through our trusted online community. And so we've been serving now the past 15 years over 20,000 Black professionals and entrepreneurs through our events, through our programs, our Founders Advisory Network, now most recently through ICABA TV. And also with something coming up we're going to talk about, so I'll hold off on that. But we're really excited. We help Black professionals and entrepreneurs across the globe to connect, collaborate, and elevate in order to achieve their career, business, and lifestyle aspirations. So it's really all about how do we succeed, how do we lead, and how do we prosper.
And in those 15 years, what do you love most, and what have been the challenges that you have overcome?
Oh boy, we don't have that much time.
That's okay.
But I'll keep it short. I think, we talk about our superpower a lot, and we have people in their profiles to put their superpower. And so my superpower is helping our members to connect to the people, the information, resources, and opportunities that allow them to reach their career, business, and lifestyle aspirations. That's what I enjoy.
So you are
And,
the super connector.
super connector.
That's fantastic. We need more people doing that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, you find yourself in a situation where you just need to connect with the right person.
Right.
And if they become a member of ICABA, there's a plethora
Yeah.
of people and connections that they can make.
Yeah.
It's our own LinkedIn.
It certainly is. Matter of fact, I sometimes call it Blinkton.
LinkedIn. I love it. There you go. LinkedIn. We have to, you know, you need to coin that. We got to copyright that, right?
You know what? I've been saying that for 15 years now, and people have said that before, but I don't want to build our brand on someone else's.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So recently, I attended the unveiling reception
Okay?
to reveal the plans for Black Professionals Month.
Yes.
Which is in October.
Exactly.
So tell us what your big announcement was and how can people attend,
Sure.
where it's going to be, all the good stuff that we need to know.
Absolutely. Well, Black Professionals Month is an extension of ICABA. So we're focused on the same thing there, advancing, showcasing Black professional excellence, advancing wealth creation, and also elevating our leadership presence worldwide. And so it is a global initiative, so that's one thing. And if you want to connect and be a part of a wide range of opportunities, so I'm just going to give you some quick examples. We have a theme for every week for Black Professionals Month. So the first week is about wealth creators.
Nice.
So we'll be doing everything about wealth creators, wealth creation. Second week is on leadership, okay? So all things leadership driven. So one of the people we'll be bringing in to talk to us will be Folarunsho Alakaja for wealth creation.
Okay.
And you're
That's
like,
a
who?
mouthful.
That's right. And she's a mouthful, but in terms of her great accomplishments and the beautiful woman she is and a strong woman of faith, she's a billionaire oil tycoon from Lagos, Nigeria. And she participated as an inductee to the first Global Hall of Fame back in 2019 with ICABA. So we've had a relationship with her for a while. During also that time, we had another gentleman who was the CEO at that time of Carnival Cruise Lines. He's since retired, but we're asking him to come back and be a part of our leadership day and our week. So that's week 2. Week 3 is entrepreneurship.
Nice.
And so we're really excited about that. And we just lost a really strong member, a guy by the name of Dr. William Picard.
Okay.
And Dr. Picard was the chairman of Global Automotive Alliance, a company that does over $2 billion in revenue. So really strong company, extremely gifted philanthropist, civic leader, and he just passed on Wednesday. So we're going to do a special tribute to him during Black Professionals Month and then Entrepreneurship Week. I was really looking forward to him. Matter of fact, he's been in this room that we're in right now. Matter of fact, we've got a videotape of him in this room we're in talking to the ICABA members about growing your business and how to succeed. The next week is going to be Support Black Professional Organizations Week. We're going to spend that whole week encouraging the public to donate, join, volunteer a Black professional organization. And then the last...
And nonprofits. There's so many Black nonprofits out there too.
Absolutely.
That don't get the love.
Yeah.
You know, the big nonprofits get all the love, but the little nonprofits do so much work and so much good in the community. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, can you're having 4 weeks of different events.
Yeah, actually, there is one more week. There's 5 weeks in October.
Oh.
Okay, the last one's not a full week, but there's still like
Yeah, it
5
is
days.
one of the long months,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
one of the long months.
Yeah.
So last week we'll address DEI.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a big topic.
That's a big
especially
topic.
today.
Yeah. But I also want to tell the folks about one of our initiatives. I could be talking forever, but there's one that really has my heart. And it's called the Black Professionals Month Global 100. Okay. And so what we're doing with that is 2 things. We are recognizing we're recognizing 100 leading Black professionals throughout the world in 2 categories. Lumina, which are those who are 40 and over, okay? Emerging, who are under 40.
Under 40.
Okay? And there's a reason we're doing it that way, okay? Of the Lumina, there will be 75. Of the emerging, there will be 25.
Oh, 100.
Going along with the Global 100 awards also will be the Global 100 Leadership Collective, okay? We don't bring people together just for recognition. We come together to connect and collaborate so we can elevate. So in January 2025, this group of 100 will come together to connect and collaborate. 75 Lumina, 25 emerging. A 3-to-1 ratio. We will pair an emerging leader with 3 Lumina leaders to coach them for 6 months. Okay? And so that kind of, if you will, intergenerational sharing and that kind of opportunity is, I think it's going to be pretty powerful.
Yes.
Secondly, we have partnered with the Advanced Leadership Institute out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they are the leading executive leadership program for Black corporate executives in America. And so they're helping us in terms of creating the curriculum for those 6 months with the additional kind of programs we're going to do. They also, in their program, they've partnered with Carnegie Mellon.
Oh,
So it's a
wonderful.
really strong, if you will, program and the relationship with Carnegie Mellon. So we're really excited. And it's a great example of how we're bringing people together, recognizing Black professional excellence, connecting and collaborating to elevate the leadership of these individuals who are coming through that program. And we're going to take on a couple of projects with that group that they will be able to have as an ongoing, and then they will also become a part of the overall ICABA community.
So if people, now you've got a whole month of activity in October and
Yes.
that wonderful partnership and collaboration event and mentorship program that you're putting on for the 100 in January. Is it going to be all online, or can people actually come during October to be here, or they have a choice of being online or in person?
Sure.
And where would they find that information?
Well, I'll start with the end. They find the information at icabaworldnetwork.com
Okay.
and also at blackprofessionalsmonth.com.
.com.
Okay? But secondly, we will have hybrid events.
Okay.
You know, and so they will be in person and also virtual, which will be about 20% of the events. And then we will also have the rest of them, which will be all virtual.
Okay.
Okay, so people will be able to attend. They'll be able to come in through ICABA TV. So icabaworldtv.com is where you will be able to, wherever you are, as long as you have something that's
Tune in.
connected to the internet, your
Exactly.
phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever that may be, smart TV, whatever it is, you'll be able to connect and be a part. But yes, we'll have events in places like Atlanta, DC, where I've got a friend today who's a member of ICABA going to Jamaica. Be leaving today for a conference.
For
next
the
week for
diaspora.
Diaspora,
Yeah, that starts on Monday, I believe, yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So he's going to be talking to them about hosting an event in Jamaica.
Nice.
So we're talking to people in South Africa, Canada. So there will be events. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'm really excited about too is that October 1. So as you know, like New Year's Eve, you know, Times Square, the TV networks, they're there talking about all the stuff that's going on. Then
Yeah.
they say, all right, it's midnight in Australia or Europe or Africa. What are you guys doing? And then they go out and people, you know, report in. Well, that's what we're going to do. Similarly, on October 1, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we're going to stream worldwide. And we'll have over 20 cities that will be chiming in. Okay, we're in Johannesburg, you know, we're in Montego Bay, we're in Calgary, we're in Toronto, we're in Paris, we're in London, we're in LA, we're in DC, all that. And our honorary chair, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, will give his keynote speech during that as well.
Now, you said 6 p.m.
6
So
p.m.
let's
to
clarify.
8 p.m.
Eastern
Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, yeah, to think about that one.
Yeah, exactly. What daylight standard?
Actually, we have to check that, because it's daylight savings September or October? I think it's October.
I think when we get to October, we'll check.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll
So,
check.
you know, just check the calendar, because I think you're going to have a hybrid there.
It will be right on the calendar. We'll make sure we have it right.
So go to ICABA
World
Network.com.
and that's ICABA worldnetwork.com and or blackprofessionalsmonth.com.
So I encourage everyone to go to both, because you're going to get a wealth of information on ICABA, on Black Professional Month, and it also will allow you to join ICABA and become a part of the team.
Exactly.
And you know, teamwork makes the dream work. So you've got to become part of the team, and you got to be in it to win it. Join ICABA, tune into ICABA TV Network, and learn about everything that can help you promote your business, promote your personal dreams and goals, and just build mindfulness for overall well-being.
Well, I appreciate that. And if I could, just one real quickly. If you want to participate in Black Professionals Month, obviously you can attend.
Exactly.
You can volunteer. You can be an ambassador. You can be a member of the host committee, and you can be a member of the advisory committee. If you're on the advisory board, we're putting you to work. That's what they do.
That's
Host
what we're
committee,
for, right?
yeah. The host committee is like, well, I don't have time to work, but I want to lend my name to it. Then we'll put you on the host committee. Ambassadors are those people like you and Earl and other folks who know a lot of people. Hey, we're going to spread the word for you.
Absolutely.
And the volunteers are the one thing to say, hey, we're going to help you, make sure that everything goes off okay. So we got a number of different ways that you can participate. Again, go to blackprofessionalsmonth.com and you'll get all the information that you need. Full overview of all the activities, and all the speakers are coming on there, schedules, how to participate, how to get involved. It's all there.
So, folks, make sure you attend. That's October, Black Professionals Month. And you're going to be so surprised at all the different goodies that you are open to and have access to, and the people you meet, the friends you meet, and all the collaborations you're able to put together in that one event, that 1 month of October, 5 different weeks of activities.
Right.
Mr. Jerome Hutchinson, thank you so much for coming on Coffee Tea or KG. And you'll have to come back and keep us abreast of what else is going on.
Would love to.
There's
Just let me know.
There's 12 months in the year. We can't just do October and January.
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'll leave you with is that Black Professionals Month, it's more than a month. It's a movement.
It's a movement.
It's a movement. We don't stop. We have the after party November through September.
Now that's a party, folks. And if you're a party people, you need to be at the party. You got to be in it to win it. Thank you so much for tuning in to Coffee Tea or KG. And thank you, Jerome, for coming in and sharing all that wonderful news with us.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.
Black Americans only made up 3.2% of senior leadership roles at large companies.
Corporate South Africa is becoming a very difficult and hostile environment for a lot of Black professionals.
So you also spoke with Black professionals about what they face in the workplace. What'd you learn and what needs to change?
A lot needs to change.
We are all aware of the problem. These headlines are just a few of the troubling reminders. The question is, what are we going to do about it? We are going to be proactive and strategic. We're going to connect and collaborate so we can ignite the changes we want to see.
Hi, I'm Jerome Hutchinson Jr., and I am fired up and ready to ignite change. In 2021, my vision for a catalyst to spark an empowering movement to ignite changes became a reality with the launch of Black Professionals Month. As the founder and chief servant officer for the ICAPA World Network, I have spent the past 13 years assisting Black professionals to succeed, lead, and prosper. It has become my life's mission to build a thriving community of Black professionals worldwide.
Get ready for Black Professionals Month. 31 days of live and virtual events, recognition, celebrations, and speakers to help Black professionals succeed, lead, and prosper. By coming together and leveraging our collective strength, we can collaborate to increase the presence of Black professionals in roles of leadership.
Through Black Professionals Month, ICAPA is expanding its capacity to increase wealth creation and leadership roles for Black professionals. I invite you to join me this October in making Black Professionals Month a driving force to amplify Black professional excellence.
If you would like to be a sponsor of BPM, be a speaker, or attend, visit blackprofessionalsmonth.com.
Let's get connected so that we can collaborate and build community to grow wealth and stronger leadership worldwide.
Peace begins in the heart. And grows with understanding. Every shared story and every act of kindness builds a stronger community. In every handshake, smile, and kind word.
Join our movement, Lauderhill. Text Peace 365 to 545454 and become a Lauderhill peacemaker. Pledge your commitment to co-creating a kinder, more peaceful Lauderhill.
Why did I go to therapy? Because I wanted to feel like myself again. I was so overwhelmed and anxious from all the broken pieces of trauma in my past. I made some steps and talked to my family and friends about how I felt. But even though they meant well, there was always a gap between my pain and the wholeness I was longing for. At Bridging the Gap Therapy Services, I was met with care. Through their in-person and online sessions, they helped me pick up the pieces of my trauma and turn my steps into strides. If they can do this for me, I know they can do the same for you. Bridge your gap between feeling anxious today and like yourself tomorrow. Call or book a session online now.
We turn our focus to another influential voice in celebrating cultural heritage and community empowerment. Joining us next is Glenn Joseph, Chairman of the Board of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce. He'll share his unique insights on Caribbean Heritage Month and his pivotal role in its creation. Stay tuned as we explore the significance of cultural celebrations and community leadership with Glenn Joseph.
Peace begins in the heart and grows with understanding. Every shared story and every act of kindness builds a stronger community.
Join our movement, Lauderhill. Text Peace365 to 545454. Pledge your commitment to co-creating a kinder, more peaceful Lauderhill.
So Glenn, June is Caribbean American Heritage Month, and you played a significant part in the history of that. So if you could take us briefly through the process, how it came about and what we do, and then we'll talk about some of the things that are happening in South Florida. We'll put them up on the screen so our audience can see what's happening, but tell us about the origin of Caribbean American Heritage Month and the significance of it.
Well, in 2003, I was the president of the Greater Caribbean American Chamber at the time. And
that was based here in Florida.
In Florida. And Dr. Claire Nelson, who is the president of the Institute for Caribbean Studies in Washington, D.C., was coming in and out for different reasons. And she invited me to become the executive vice president for the Institute as we marshaled the trust towards Caribbean American Heritage Month. I'm one of the 3 founding advocates, along with Dr. Nelson, who brought me in, and a young man by the name of Anthony Carter from New Jersey, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Guyana.
Wow.
And the 3 of us really marshaled that effort through Congress, so that on February 14th, 2006, because Chuck Schumer unopposed, and it was passed unanimously in Congress.
Oh.
And because of that, the chamber is part of the congressional record, and and that happened. And in June, we had the first inaugural for Caribbean American Heritage Month. And we spent from February 14th to June 20th or somewhere there for this event, putting together a national commemoration for Caribbean American Heritage Month. And we went everywhere. I mean, I flew everywhere. Atlanta, California. I mean, even Salt Lake City had passed a resolution celebrating Caribbean American Heritage Month. So it became a big thing. And then two years after that, we brought the first Caribbean Conference of the Caribbean here in DC as a follow-up to that.
Wow.
And the Chamber became one of the first organizations through the UniFest, the Greater Caribbean American Cultural Coalition UniFest, presentation of UniFest as the first event of Caribbean American Heritage Month. And so we celebrated 18 years this year of that momentous thing. And we have a lot more to go. But one of the things that I don't want to happen is I don't want us to squander the accomplishment by just celebrating it and not doing constructive things.
Correct.
And because of that, I'm on the verge of launching an initiative that should be able to take us where we need to go, because the criteria for being in it, in a leadership role, is not having an ego that is bigger than themselves. I'm in the process of moving towards that. And that's the Caribbean Heritage Foundation.
Oh, wow. So this is an exclusive for Coffee TRKG. You're breaking news. So you will have to come back and tell us more about that and how people can get involved. And, you know, right here in Florida, and we'll give you some more information on that, we have Fort Lauderdale last year that celebrated for the first time Caribbean American Heritage Month. And we'll let you know some of the other things that are happening in and around Florida celebrating Caribbean American Heritage Month. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Island Space Caribbean Museum, a place where Caribbean cultures unite, where the arts are celebrated, where friends of every age and background are educated, where we tell our story our way. We are the first and only Caribbean Heritage Museum representing every Caribbean country, every language, every dialect, every ethnicity, every faith. This space is important because representation is important. It keeps in mind the things that we should never forget about ourselves and our own history. It teaches our children about who they are and our friends about who we are. Island Space is our rhythm. It is our heartbeat. It is our passion. It is our strength. It is our story. Start making your plans to visit at islandspacefl.org.
Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. It derives its name from June 19, 1865, the day Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce the end of slavery. This announcement came 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had formally abolished slavery in Confederate states as of January 1, 1863. However, enforcement of the proclamation relied on Union troop victories. And it wasn't until the end of the Civil War and the arrival of federal troops in Texas that the news reached enslaved people there. The significance of Juneteenth lies not only in its historical importance, as marking the final emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the Confederate South, but also in its symbolism of freedom and liberation. For formerly enslaved individuals, Juneteenth represented their first true taste of freedom and the beginning of a new era. Over the years, Juneteenth has evolved into a day of celebration, reflection, and education. It serves as a reminder of the struggles and resilience of African Americans throughout history and their ongoing fight for equality and justice. Communities across the United States commemorate Juneteenth with parades, festivals, picnics, and gatherings that highlight African American culture, music, food, and achievements. In recent times, the significance of Juneteenth has been amplified amid national conversations about racial justice and equity. Many view it as a day to not only celebrate freedom, but also to advocate for continued progress toward racial equality and to recognize the ongoing challenges faced by African Americans in society. In 2021, Juneteenth gained further recognition when it was officially designated as a federal holiday in the United States, marking a milestone in acknowledging the historical significance and cultural importance of this day. As we observe Juneteenth each year, it serves as a poignant reminder of the journey toward justice and equality and underscores the importance of honoring and preserving African American history and heritage for future generations.
Welcome to Island Space Caribbean Museum, a place where Caribbean cultures unite, where the arts are celebrated, where friends of every age and background are educated, where we tell our story our way. We are the first and only Caribbean Heritage Museum representing every Caribbean country, every language, every dialect, every ethnicity, every faith. This space is important because representation is important. It keeps in mind the things that we should never forget about ourselves and our own history. It teaches our children about who they are and our friends about who we are. Island Space is our rhythm. It is our heartbeat. It is our passion. It is our strength. It is our story. Start making your plans to visit at islandspacefl.org.
Now, shifting gears to another remarkable individual who channels creativity and community spirit into commemorating Juneteenth. Joining us next is Nerissa Street, founder of Be Your Own Answer. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Why did I go to therapy? Because I wanted to feel like myself again. I was so overwhelmed and anxious from all the broken pieces of trauma in my past. I made some steps and talked to my family and friends about how I felt. But even though they meant well, there was always a gap between my pain and the wholeness I was longing for. At Bridging the Gap Therapy Services, I was met with care. Through their in-person and online sessions, they helped me pick up the pieces of my trauma and turn my steps into strides. If they can do this for me, I know they can do the same for you. Bridge your gap between feeling anxious today and like yourself tomorrow. Call or book a session online now.
Now, welcome, Nerissa Street. I know you are really putting your best foot forward here. She is under the weather, people, but she came here especially to tell us a little bit about her journey with Black Utopias and Juneteenth, and I will just let you roll with it so we can get you in and out, okay?
Sure. So, first of all, I'm really grateful for you to have me here on the platform that you're building. I think making sure that Black voices are amplified in this way is really important. And I really appreciate you taking the time to want to hear my story. So
we're grateful.
No problem. So Juneteenth for Joy is an annual festival that started during COVID. I'm a teacher. And one of the things that was happening in the classroom is my students were feeling both rage and apathy because right before June 2020, George Floyd was murdered. And so we had gone home, and so we were all communicating with this screen. And one of the kids just said to me in the middle of, like right after the murder and before Juneteenth, said to me, "Why do they hate us?" And so it pierced me. And so I also have a very, very deep spiritual background and deep spiritual roots. And what came up for me is it doesn't matter that they hate us. We need to love each other. And so it just flowed out of that. And every time, I started to see people, say, "Oh, Juneteenth is this and Juneteenth is that," I realized that more of what was surfacing was the struggle, the blood, the pain, and the kids were listening. Because that's all they could do. They couldn't be with their friends. They couldn't be with their family. And all they were doing was diving into the phone and becoming more and more either ragey or apathetic or a blend of both. And so I connected with a colleague of mine who was also a teacher and, of course, also was seeing the same thing. And I pitched her, I said, what if freedom could be looked at through the lens of joy? And so, so we went from there. I connected with her, connected with some folks who also had the same kind of mindset. Starting from the very beginning, connected with the Black Improv Alliance, and we had a a broadcast of just funny, happy videos. We talked about education and where education could go after this. We talked about mental health, and we
Right.
talked about the fact that, again, it's us. It's the lens through which we look at it. So I want to make sure I'm clear. It's not a Pollyanna lens, right? So it's not a rose-colored glasses. It is
real.
This is what's in front of me. I acknowledge what's in front of me, and also I am bigger than what's in front of me. So we did the broadcast, live stream broadcast over Zoom, and posted it on Facebook and shared it. And immediately the response was, "You're doing this again next year, right?" So
how did the students react when you were doing it? Did they participate?
Yeah, and so they watched it, and like teenagers are, because I was teaching teenagers, as like teenagers are, they're like, "Oh, that's okay, Mr." Very like, and so it just lent itself into doing more. And what I found was that the adults needed it as much as the kids. So moving from 2020 to 2021, I started to do some self-care. And the self-care that I was doing is I was meeting with a group of Black and Brown first responders. And so that included military, that included firemen, that included police officers, that included nurses, that included other teachers. We even had somebody who works for a very large energy company. and so she was a first responder when things were happening. She was the one who was in charge of those things. So we got together, and we got together where we could get together, which was on the beach, and then began to practice trauma informed, anxiety sensitive healing practices, and that included being in the water. So this was a collaboration with Diversity in Aquatics, which is really about making sure that Black people return to the water. Not go to the water, but return.
Yeah.
Dig into the history of Indigenous people. We've been in water.
Yeah.
We had a very symbiotic relationship with the water. And if you notice, in African spiritual traditions, there are
a lot of water rituals.
Orishas. There are people who are acknowledged, and there are deities that are acknowledged that are connected to water. So,
is that how the water experience came about for Juneteenth? How did you
Right.
tie that in with Juneteenth?
So, because I was feeling my own healing there, and realizing that this was kind of the missing piece, in 2021, I partnered with Diversity in Aquatics, and I definitely have to shout them out, the Florida State Parks. And we went to the Von D. Mizell Eula Johnson State Park Beach, which had been set aside for Black families. There's a whole history of why that particular beach is so important. And when I started having conversations with them and wanting to expand it, they were like, "We are so inspired by this. We want more Black people to come." Because of what this beach represents. There was a whole renaming ceremony in 2016, acknowledging the activists who fought, and in some cases drowned, for leisure, right? And so I realized that was connected back to joy. The fact that there was this separation about what water could be. Water is very healing. And water, when you go into the water, you play.
Yeah.
So that pulling together now, joy and play are intersected, was why we went there 2021. And I was really blessed to connect with some really dope collaborators who wanted me to broadcast it again. And so we set up a whole remote broadcast in the middle of the beach, so that live stream still exists. And we were on this beautiful bridge, and we are invoking, I would say, the ancestors, but just invoking the strength within us to reclaim our play. So it expanded in 2022 with the help of the Community Foundation of Broward and the Broward Cultural Division. I am very, very grateful. I was one of the first artists to get the Artist Innovation Grant, which is a collaboration with the Community Foundation and meant to take an artist and help them expand their work. And my work is and always will be storytelling. So now what does it look like to tell a story in a place? And once you understand storytelling in a place, you understand that what it becomes is something called place keeping, right? So there's a lot of cultural and social conversations about place making. You know, you go into a place and you make it good for the people who are living there. We need to be very clear that our neighborhoods have always been our places. And so now it's just a matter of keeping those places. So we partnered with a Black real estate developer. He gave our seed fund, and he came and talked about the need for people to keep their family homestead. There's so much that happens where, people are thinking, okay, there's not a lot of opportunities for my child, and so I'm going to send them off to college. And what ends up happening is you forget to imbue them with the knowledge of the value of where they're coming from. And so they go off, find an opportunity, and they stay gone. And so people who have fought for the land that they're on are now losing the land because of taxes. And that's like a simple conversation, these taxes. So in that conversation now, I realized that the joy that we've been looking for, the play that we've been looking for is right under our feet. And if we do the things that we know to do to keep our relationship with both the water that was secured for us and with the homes that our ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears went into, we can just surface the stories that are there of joy. So Building Black Utopias was sponsored, and our tagline was transforming red lines into green spaces. So what started to happen for me as somebody who's Jamaican American and telling these stories, going into Black neighborhoods in Broward County, some neighborhoods which are gone, like Harlem McBride is gone, Carver Ranches is gone, but going into the people who are still there and bringing those stories to light, I kept hearing the same things over and over, that they sent their family away for better opportunities. And as a Jamaican American, I realized that story resonated very deeply, because that's what Jamaicans do as well. Mm-hmm. When it's time for the child to graduate, we very proudly send them off to foreign, right? And foreign could be Canada, foreign could be London, foreign could be the United States. But the thought is that there's not enough opportunity at home. And when you see the opportunity at home, you realize that's a mistake. And the same mistake that's being made in America is the same mistake that's being made in Jamaica. And it struck me. And so then I started to write a play. And when I wrote the play...
tell us what the name of the play is.
Sure. So the play is called Leaving Jamaica. And it's a short play. The intention is for it to be a full-length play. But the urge to write this story about home and the importance of home and what we have to leave behind when we choose to leave home, it just was something that was itching at me. And so I wrote the play. I was able to work with some organizations around South Florida. First did a workshop of the play, like a staged reading at the New City Players. Then continuing the writing process, I hopped into some writers' workshops at Art Prevails Project. And then there was an opportunity to pitch the play, a short play, to the City Theater Homegrown Playwright Initiative, And my early life in Florida was in Miami. I went to Coral Gables Senior High, went to Bentry Elementary, hammocks, all kinds of places, and found that the work of City Theater was something that I loved. So I pitched it, and they accepted it, and it is now at the Adrian Arts Center. And it has been so important to me to have this story said in front of Caribbean people that before the play premiered, we did what's called a staged reading of an excerpt, right? So what's going on in the City Theater is a world premiere of the completed play. What we do to make sure that the story is right is we ask to do workshops, which is we gather the people who are in this play and we ask them to listen. And so we did like a little excerpt of it, and we read it in front of a group of Jamaican women and a few of their husbands and partners at the Island Space Museum. And the response was amazing. And so I am so grateful that out of this evolution of wanting to serve my students, wanting to bring back joy to us, to illuminate the places and spaces that are safe and playful for us, that it brought me back home. And so I'm really grateful. My mom and I went to opening night, and that was great. I wouldn't trade that for a thing. And I'm really grateful that the story of Juneteenth now has a connection to the Caribbean, because our freedom is everyone's freedom, right? Our understanding of joy in our neighborhoods is contagious. And so I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to talk about that. And I hope that you find your own way to celebrate Juneteenth that's joyful, that's playful, that's surrounded by community. And I hope that you make it to the play Leaving Jamaica. And if you don't, there'll be a full length. So keep an eye out for that. And I appreciate your time.
No
today.
problem. So Juneteenth is June 19th, which is today.
All right.
Today, as we celebrate Juneteenth, I want you to give us a little, the 8 neighborhoods, can we talk about those?
So the 8 neighborhoods are, and I always want to make sure that I get them all, so I'm going to be counting. So Harlem McBride is one of the neighborhoods that's no longer in existence, and you would find it right on Lauderhill-ish. You have Carver Ranches, which is now known as West Park. You have Sistrunk, which is still here and still holding strong, but that is a very, very dedicated
and a thin string. I hear they're talking about renaming Sistrunk.
Well, they've been talking about it, you know, and so again, everything gets renamed, everything gets rebuilt, unless you stand up and say, that's what I want.
Not on my watch.
So Harlem McBride, Carver Ranches, Sistrunk, Pompano, and if you know, Esther Roll came from Pompano. Deerfield Beach has a historic Black neighborhood. Okay, here we go. This is where Daney and Liberia. And Daney and Liberia has a special place in my heart because that's where I teach. And that's where I used to teach. And so that's where it came from. Having a conversation with a young historian based out of Daney and Liberia, Emmanuel George, and just having kind of this back and forth conversation about what can we do and what are the stories that we can tell there. So I helped him create a documentary. So now let me be very clear about helped him. He had the vision. He had the 2 camera people and sound people who are amazing. Premium Matthew Sterling and Ian B. Mann, who, if you love violin, he's an amazing violinist. So he had already been working with them to tell these stories. And when we met up, I was teaching, and I said, you need a little money. And as somebody who's a proficient grant writer, I said, let's find some money for post-production. And so we did. And I'm grateful that he thought enough of me to have me come on board and just kind of hold them as they move to the production process. And that story is now up on YouTube, Dani and Liberia, A Tale of Sibling Communities. And so you can watch that. And
is Dania what is now Dania Beach? Or part of Dania?
Right. So Northwest Dania is known locally in the vernacular as Dani, right? And so they know that you're from there if you call it Dani. And so we wanted to make sure in the construction of these monuments, because what we did create is we created sign monuments. In the construction of these monuments, we wanted to make sure to call the neighborhoods by their names. And so I'm really, again, grateful that from me wanting to serve these students, to give them a sense of hope and joy, that, again, I was able to find my way home. And I hope to continue doing this storytelling. I hope to continue working with organizations that want to do storytelling. We did, last year, we did a show with PBS, and that was broadcast nationally with teenagers, which is like a full circle for me. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk about this, and I hope that folks can find their way to whatever Juneteenth celebration that fits them, that aligns with them.
And there are lots. All they have to do is go and search Juneteenth on the Google search, which brings up everything. We're so glad that you came to see us today, Nerissa. Thank you for blessing us with all that knowledge and all that information. There's so many people that don't realize how rich the history is of Black neighborhoods in Broward County, and the significance of learning about that during Juneteenth to create the joy and bring the joy of having self-worth and self-knowledge.
Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. It derives its name from June 19, 1865, the day Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce the end of slavery. This announcement came 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had formally abolished slavery in Confederate states as of January 1, 1863. However, enforcement of the proclamation relied on Union troop victories. And it wasn't until the end of the Civil War and the arrival of federal troops in Texas that the news reached enslaved people there. The significance of Juneteenth lies not only in its historical importance, as marking the final emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the Confederate South, but also in its symbolism of freedom and liberation. For formerly enslaved individuals, Juneteenth represented their first true taste of freedom and the beginning of a new era. Over the years, Juneteenth has evolved into a day of celebration, reflection, and education. It serves as a reminder of the struggles and resilience of African Americans throughout history and their ongoing fight for equality and justice. Communities across the United States commemorate Juneteenth with parades, festivals, picnics, and gatherings that highlight African American culture, music, food, and achievements. In recent times, the significance of Juneteenth has been amplified amid national conversations about racial justice and equity. Many view it as a day to not only celebrate freedom, but also to advocate for continued progress toward racial equality and to recognize the ongoing challenges faced by African Americans in society. In 2021, Juneteenth gained further recognition when it was officially designated as a federal holiday in the United States, marking a milestone in acknowledging the historical significance and cultural importance of this day. As we observe Juneteenth each year, it serves as a poignant reminder of the journey toward justice and equality and underscores the importance of honoring and preserving African American history and heritage for future generations.
This is what the stadium was built for 17 years ago, as the first U.S.-sanctioned cricket stadium to be built in this country. This is why we built it. This is the dream, and it's so exciting to see it happening here on the field. You know, people were really excited to come see cricket here. I mean, the first night, you know, we had 2,000 Nepali fans. Who even knew there were 2,000 Nepali fans, cricket fans coming to South Florida? So yes, we were disappointed by the constant delays and abandonments because of the weather, but we have to say that the fever and the fire and the energy for cricket is here, and we're just excited to see where this takes us. You know, who knows? I mean, we're on the world stage today. Millions, if not billions, of people are watching Pakistan play Ireland. And, you know, we're doing this, India has the TV rights, so we're doing this on India Prime Time. So everybody's seeing around the world that Broward County has a real cricket stadium and a cricket culture. You know, the fever for cricket is here to stay. Cricket is amazing as the world's second #1 sport. We are so excited that we saw the vision to be able to host it here, and we're just excited, and the best team win today.
Peace begins in the heart. And grows with understanding. Every shared story and every act of kindness builds a stronger community. In every handshake, smile, and kind word.
Join our movement, Lauderhill. Text Peace 365 to 545454 and become a Lauderhill Peacemaker. Pledge your commitment to co-creating a kinder, more peaceful Lauderhill.
As we wrap up our show, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of our viewers who joined us in celebrating the ICC Men's T20 World Cup cricket matches that we highlighted last week. Despite the challenges posed by the rain, our enthusiasm for cricket remains unwavering. Here's hoping that next year we'll enjoy the excitement and camaraderie that we eagerly anticipated this season. Until then, stay tuned for more updates and insights and all things sports and beyond. Thanks for watching.